As we shall be discussing the NASCAR COTA race that just finished up a couple minutes ago now. And might I just add, when it came to this COTA race, it was an amazing race up until the last 5 laps. Because that caution that set up overtime and then set up 3 more overtimes was just absolute chaos. But it also meant some guys that finished in the top 10 were able to pick up their first top 10s of the season, and one particular guy that actually ended up getting back into the top 10 after spinning out on that last restart before the 3 overtimes. So let's talk about the race, or actually, before we get into this, NASCAR and Chase Elliott, and having Gert Steiner in the broadcast booth, which is absolutely amazing. Hearing Kurt Busch get choked up about the race winner today was just absolutely amazing to see. Gunther Steiner, even though he did not have that much commentary when it came to the broadcast booth, he was still very, very good. And having Chase Elliott there as a driver's perspective, also alongside Kurt Busch, considering Chase Elliott was also on the track last year when Kurt Busch was racing, it was very nice to see Chase Elliott get back into it, and I'm going to be very excited for when Chase Elliott does return to the NASCAR Cup Series. But speaking about today's winner just happens to be the guy that replaced Kurt Busch in the 45 when Kurt Busch wasn't able to continue due to his concussions. And that guy was the 45 and Tyler Reddick, who won the NASCAR Cup Series race at COTA. It was the race was going to be between him and William Byron when it came to this. And William Byron ended up finishing in 5th place. But it just seemed that on the restarts, Reddick can never get the perfect restart. But the rest of the track, that first part of the track through the S's through turn 10, that was just Reddick's bread and butter, and he was just able to outbreak everyone. That's how he was able to get around Byron to get the lead, and then for the 3 overtimes, he just stayed in the lead. You know, like some of the times he had Kyle Busch, he had Tyler Reddick. Sorry, he had Kyle Busch. He had William Byron, he had Alex Bowman coming after him, but he was able to keep on and managed to win this race. Now, the rest of the top 10 finishers goes as followed. In second place, we have Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch! He finished in the top 10 in both stages. Sorry, he finished in the top 10 in stage number 1. He finished, I believe it was 7th in stage number 1, because William Byron won stage number 1 and Tyler Reddick won stage number 2. The top 10 finishers, before I continue into Kyle Busch, the top 10 finishers in stage 1 was William Byron, Austin Cindric, AJ Allmendinger, Alex Bowman, Ross Chastain, Suarez, Kyle Busch, Jordan Taylor, Christopher Bell, and Ryan Preece. The reason why Tyler Reddick wasn't in the top 10 in the first stage is due down to him pitting before the stage ended. The second stage was won by Tyler Reddick due down to William Byron pitting before the stage ended, so Reddick won stage 2, Austin Dillon in 2nd, McDowell 3rd, Harvick 4th, Buescher 5th, Stenhouse 6th, Larson 7th, Jones 8th, Briscoe 9th, and Noah Gragson getting a 10th place stage point. So that's just very good for Noah Gragson getting that stage point. But back to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, this race just seemed to have a top 10 car. And he just needed to be put in the right moments. And I'm going to say this right now. If Kyle Busch had not had a win early on this season, Kyle Busch would have probably punted Reddick through into the next corner. But Kyle Busch raced Reddick with respect. Him and Byron raced Reddick with respect. And I have to get that to Kyle Busch, because a lot of people out there would probably say Kyle Busch would have probably dumped him if he was still at Joe Gibbs. But no, Kyle Busch would have raced him with respect. It would have been worse. It would have been even more cleaner had he been with Joe Gibbs, considering that would have been the sister team. But yes, Kyle Busch racing with respect, ended up getting a 2nd place finish, and I'm very happy for Kyle Busch. 3rd place was Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman, like I said, finished 3rd, finished 4th in the first stage, and then pitted in the second stage before the second stage was over. And Bowman had an incident where he was protecting the bottom line from Ross Chastain, and ended up cleaning out Daniel Suarez. And I actually saw a clip that I'll be providing right here. And if you guys are seeing during the clip, you can see that Daniel Suarez is going to pit road, going through bumps through his teammate to get to Alex Bowman on pit road. And I'm probably going to say that's going to be a fine from Daniel Suarez, because you just cannot be doing that on pit road, especially. Had he gone to Alex Bowman before they hit pit road, then I think that would have been fine. But considering that he hit Alex Bowman and even hit his teammate out of the way to get to Alex Bowman, that's definitely going to be a fine. But Alex Bowman, solid top 5, finishing in 3rd place. Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain is the guy at the start of the video I talked about. He spun on that last caution before the overtime, and he was towards the back. And then the first overtime, he gains a couple spots. And then in that mind, I'm like, give Ross Chastain 2 more overtimes. Ross Chastain can win this race. 2 overtimes later, Ross Chastain is in 5th place. And if he had chosen the bottom, I think Ross Chastain would have won this race, because I think Ross Chastain would have been reckless enough to dive bomb it past Tyler Reddick. Even if Tyler Reddick went into the gravel, I think Ross Chastain would have been able to do that. But still, solid top 5 finish for Ross Chastain. The last year's race winner, a solid day for Trackhouse. I mean, for one of the Trackhouse, it should have been a solid day for 2. But unfortunately for the other one and Daniel Suarez ended up finishing in 28th place. 5th place was William Byron. 6th place was Austin Cindric, the best finishing Ford. And I'm going to be honest, the second best finishing Ford is actually a surprising one, but we'll get on to them. 7th place is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., picking up a solid top 10 finish. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishing the top 10 is just absolutely amazing. I'm so happy for him. 8th place was Chris Buescher, the best finishing Roush Fenway Keselowski car. Considering his teammate caused 2 of the cautions today. I believe he caused the first caution, and then he caused the last caution, stopping on the track with 15 to go, was Keselowski stopping on the track. Keselowski ended up finishing 35th. Not a good day for Brad Keselowski, but Chris Buescher getting a top 10 finish is very good. Ty Gibbs, a quiet day for Ty Gibbs, mostly running around top 15, top 20, managed to pull up with a couple cars wrecking at the end, finishing in 9th place. And the 10th place car, the 3rd best finishing Ford, I forgot Chris Buescher was driving the Ford. The 3rd best finishing Ford is Ty Gilliland. Ty Gilliland, in a car that's not even running full-time, finishes the top 10. And considering that a lot of the other Fords managed to crash out this race, give it up to Ty Gilliland. The rest of the top 20 finishers goes as follows. Corey LaJoie, solid top 15. Michael McDowell, 12th. Kevin Harvick, just kind of quiet day for Kevin Harvick. Not really disappointing, kind of, but not really. Kyle Larson, the 14th. Had an issue with this, I believe it was left rear wheel after Bubba Wallace hit him. Bubba Wallace ended up finishing 37th. And Jimmy Johnson was also involved in that. And then Jimmy Johnson ended up finishing 38th. 15th was Chase Briscoe. 16th was Denny Hamlin, who was in the top 10 on one of the overtime restarts, but ended up drifting back. Truex is 17th, Jenson Button in 18th, Justin Haley in 19th, and Noah Gragson finishing in 20th. The rest of the finishers that I did not talk about today were Blaney finishing in 21st, Suarez in 28th, Logano in 29th. I don't know how Logano had finished that way, because the last time I saw he was in the top 15. I guess he got involved in one incident, ended up finishing in 29th. Christopher Bell ended up getting involved in an incident. I believe it was the last overtime restart that he ended up getting involved in an incident, finishing 31st. AJ Allmendinger, my pick to win this race, finishing 34th. Disappointing day. Got involved in an incident during the last part of the race. Keselowski in 35th. Wallace in 37th. And then Jimmy Johnson finishing in 38th. Disappointing day for all of those guys I just mentioned, those last 4 guys, because I think 3 of them would have been very good shots to have their first to get the win today. But Tyler Reddick, William Byron were the absolute dominators of this race. But looking back at the whole race, a couple cautions there. It was rarely a few cautions during the first 3 stages. The only time the race got really hectic was towards the last part of the race, like the last 15 laps. That was the most hectic part of the race. But besides that, the first part of the race, second part of the race, and then even the beginning of the 3rd stage was absolutely amazing. COTA is just an absolutely amazing track. It's put on many, many great finishes for the NASCAR Cup Series, and I can't wait for them to come back next year. And when it comes to this overall review of this race, I got to give this race a A- when it comes to this. I believe it would have had an A if it not had been for the overtime craziness and a lot of drivers having no respect for each other. But still, congratulations to Tyler Reddick. I wish William Byron had finished second, because it was a battle between those two. But William Byron still got top 5. But Tyler Reddick was definitely the best car today. And we'll move on to next week's race, where we're going to have Richmond Motor Speedway. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys all later. Peace.